I never thought or planned on living abroad. You can ask my closest friends and my family, and they will all tell you that I was the kind of girly who was just so comfortable and cuddled up in her own country, and I just wanted to stay there for the rest of my life. But sometimes life just happens and it takes you on adventures you never thought you'd go on. Last year, 2023, I came here to Canada to visit my sister with my family, and we haven't seen each other for like 2 years. I was just so excited to see her again. And then in the middle of 2023, things shifted, and I ended up staying here for more than a year. Actually, a year. Not really more than a year, just a year right now. It's been so amazing since I've experienced a lot of first times. I've experienced my first winter, my first fall, my first early spring, and a lot more firsts, which I'm also so excited to share here. But right now, I want to start off sharing the lessons that I've learned throughout this whole experience. So, here are the 3 things I learned from staying abroad. Number 1, the world is not as big and scary as I thought. So, ever since I was younger, I've always had this picture in my mind that one country is so different from another country, and that, the world is just so big and daunting, and living at the other side of the world is just something that I was totally unprepared for. But it's also just so interesting for me to meet people here who I've known for years, and just meeting them here just makes it so much more real na hindi ganun kalaki yung mundo, that the world is not as big as I thought it was. And the biggest fruit of this lesson is that knowing that the world is not as big as I thought it was just gives me so much more courage to make mistakes and to take action even if things are not perfect, because I know that now I can course correct along the way. Second lesson is a person's upbringing is so important. It may just be the fact that I'm far away from my parents, but just being here in another country, living by myself, far away from them, I found my heart being so grateful for my parents, grateful for how well they disciplined me and my sister and how well they raised us. And admittedly, there were a lot of times in my life where I didn't understand why they were asking me to do some things, and I also didn't understand why they were so much stricter than most of my friends' parents. But now I see not only were they teaching me important values that I need right now as an adult, but they were also trying to protect me from things in this world that I may not be ready or be prepared yet when I was so much younger. My parents are not perfect, but I'm just so grateful for how they raised me to be so value driven and strong at the same way. And now I added one measure of success in my life further down the road is if I can raise my kids as well as my parents has raised me and my siblings, that would mean everything to me, and I could say that I've been a successful parent if I can raise my children the way they raised me and my siblings, or even just close to that. Third lesson, and probably the biggest lesson of all, is embracing uncertainty. So far, I think I've just been sharing the joyful side of being here in another country, living abroad, but I've also just trained my mind to see things from the perspective of lessons instead of challenges, because there were so many times where I was just crying in the middle of the night. I would just stay awake and cry my eyes out because there was too much uncertainty, and I could still just remember how my heart was just screaming as if it just wanted to get off my chest, and just how much tears rolled down my eyes during those times. But like I said, I think this is the biggest lesson because it really taught me to embrace uncertainty. Questions like, when should I go home? Am I actually doing the right thing? What if things doesn't work out? What happens next? All these questions and unpleasant emotions just surfaces when you do things that you didn't plan on doing. But being here and living abroad, I just learned what it really means to let it be and let it go, or let go and let God. Because really, in reality, and this is one of the things that my dad has always been telling us, me and my siblings, is that the only constant thing in this world is change. And I've known from a very young age that the world around me will just keep on changing. But this past year has been the biggest change, I'd say, and I was so unprepared for it. Just being here really taught me how to embrace uncertainty, and it just gave me a lot more courage to do things. And just a bonus lesson, this is kind of biased, but just being here abroad in Canada, I really see how Filipinos have this innate spark and joy, and everyone sees it. And now I also see why most foreigners want to live in the Philippines. And it's not just the cheap cost of living, but it's also about the people and just how welcoming Filipinos are. I just need to say this, I also don't agree with people going around right now rebranding Filipino hospitality as people pleasing, because there's such a big difference between being hospitable and people pleasing. Being hospitable comes from a healed, genuine place, and people pleasing comes from a wounded place, and there's such a big difference. And just being here abroad and living here, I really truly see that most Filipinos have their arms wide open, coming from a genuine place, and it's not coming from trauma or coming out of fear. So yeah, just being here, I really see how Filipinos are even outside the country, and it's just been amazing to see. So just staying abroad, it wasn't planned, and I definitely went into it unprepared, but I guess that's where magic happens, when you just let life teach you the big lessons. And although I'm still uncertain about a lot of things, I guess right now I just trust myself better, because I know that I'm so much wiser and stronger now. So I'm editing right now, and I just realized how amazing God has moved in my life in the past year. How amazing that He has sustained me being in a foreign country without any work. So currently I'm not even working here in Canada. I'm not allowed to work because I'm on a tourist visa, and my main source of living, which is modeling and acting projects back in the Philippines, I left that in the Philippines temporarily. It's just so amazing looking back right now and seeing how there was no day that I starved. There was no day that I didn't have a roof above my head. I mean, maybe I'm kind of over exaggerating, but that's really how grateful I feel right now that God allowed me to stay here for a year, and He has sustained me through it all. If you are also in a situation where you're just about to jump off a cliff and there is a ton of uncertainty and you didn't plan on doing it, but it's right here in front of you, I say go ahead and just enjoy and allow life to teach you the lessons that you need to learn right now in your own season. See you in my next video. Bye.